Hi everybody, I'm Karen and I am back for Flosstube number 2, which seems a little crazy, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm more nervous this time, so bear with me. First and foremost, I just have to say thank you everybody for watching and commenting and all of that stuff. Everybody says it. This community is so warm and welcoming and encouraging, and to see familiar faces that you're like, oh, I know that person. You know, when you have a Betsy Klager says, I'm gonna subscribe, and I'm like, okay, do I get to like come over and spin Hamilton in the chair now? Like, we're friends, right? And nobody knows that feeling besides other people kind of in this community. So I know it sounds a little crazy to say that, but it's true. And I was lucky enough that Sarah's Stitchy Spot, Sarah, who is, honestly, she's a friend to everybody. You know, there are people who are friendly, and then there are people who are friends. And she is just that type of person. She is so generous and so gracious. And not only did she mention my video, but she really mentioned hearing me in the things that I was saying. And it meant a lot to me. And so I'm back with more stuff and more WIPs, and we'll just kind of see what happens. Like I said, I'm more nervous this time. I don't really know why, but so it goes. So the first thing I thought I would show you is that I have my first WIP that I ever did. So I was a child of the 80s, and I was a swimmer. And so when we went to swim meets, it was all day, and you maybe swam 6 events. So there was a lot of time just sitting around. And so I would take, this was my little tin, full of embroidery floss, and I still have some. But we would weave these little, I don't know where the camera is. That's something, I looked at the wrong place the whole time. Ooh, sorry. But we would weave these bracelets because you could do it at the dock of the pool. If it got wet, it wasn't a big deal, anything like that. So when I was I started swimming when I was 8. So this was probably more when I was like 11. I would go to Ben Franklin and get the DMC, and I still have a lot of it in there. And so one day, clearly, I just picked up some just plain Aida. It's not a kit. It wasn't anything like that. But obviously, I just picked up a couple pieces, a piece of Aida and a few floss colors. And like I said last time, I was a sticker girl, a big sticker girl. I have my sticker book here. Can you imagine? I was a big fan of stickers. And so I was looking through a bag and I found this little thing, and Miss Grossman were some of my favorite stickers. And clearly what I did was I just copied a sticker. And so this, I hope we can see it. This is my first cross stitch. And he's a goose. I was practicing French knots over here, but he's a goose. He's a Miss Grossman sticker. There's my sticker, and there's my goose. And I skipped every row and every in between by a square. So I don't know why I did that, but this is the first thing. And I remember after I did this, my mom took me to the Joann, and I bought this kit, and I don't remember what it was. I know it was tabby cats and like sunflowers or something. And I thought, oh, this will be great for driving to and from the swim meets. I can just sit and do this in the back of the car. And I remember like getting the kit, being in the car, driving, and like halfway running out of the floss of the color. I was just doing the border. It was like a double line. And I ran out of floss. And I thought, well, that's not right. And my mom said, well, just get in your little bin and find some of the color. And I did that. But by the time we got to the swim meet, I was like, something's wrong here. It was like I had run out of floss, and the Aida was kind of warping and whelping. And my mom was like, okay, I'll look at it. My mom was not a crafty person. When I was in elementary school, she went back to school to become a nurse. And so she was studying and working and doing all of that sort of thing. She was not really a crafty person. She's a baker and a cook. Amazing. But she looked at it, and basically what I had done was, instead of 2 threads, I had taken 2, you know, full things. So I was, instead of stitching with 2 strands, I was stitching with 12 is what happened. So that thing went in the trash. And I remember we looked at Joann's and there was still nothing really there. And so my mom said, oh, well, there's this magazine that comes and we'll order you one. So I ordered this. I went from 0 to 60, folks. So I ordered this, and I cannot believe I still have this. But it's a kind of printed, I guess you would call it printed, except for that it's not printed per se. It's some of the background is printed, and then you stitch part of the stuff. So I did the face. And see how that is, like, you just stitched in here, but you didn't stitch like all these quilts. But for some reason after that, I decided I would tackle the French knots all up here. There are supposed to be like 8 bazillion French knots in here. And here's my attempt. And I hate French knots, obviously now. Maybe this is why. And so yeah, that's as far as I got. And bye-bye stitching. And so I didn't stitch again for years and years and years. I went to college and I had jobs, and then I decided that I wanted to go back to school and be a teacher. And I went to school, and then I student taught for half a year. Then I had a long-term sub for half a year. And then on the last day of school, I got hired for a job in the fall. So I had a summer vacation kind of situation where I wasn't going to be working, but I also didn't have a lot to do. So this was when I was way older. I was like 27. And at that point, we lived in Sparks, Nevada. We live in Reno now. But I went to the Ben Franklin there, and I got the kit of, what's his name? You guys know. You're screaming at me. Something the literate. Somebody. But anyway, I started him. He's a DMC kit. I think you can still get this. There's a bunch of, in the kit, there's a bunch of backstitch words on these books. And I did some of it, but it was in that gold stuff. And so I just gave up. I was like, they're books, who cares? And they're like punny cat titles in the thing. But anyway, I started this that summer. And then I finished it probably after my son was born, so probably like 10 years later. Not 10, but 7 years later. And it was during this that I thought, there's got to be a better way than cutting this out, like doing a little bit here and cutting it off, and doing a little bit here and cutting it off. And we now had the internet. And I don't know what I searched for, but I ended up on a Caroline Mazzio parking video. And I found Flosstube, and I found 1, 2, 3 Stitch, and then it just took off from there. So many moons later, I did finish him just into a pillow sort of thing. So that's how I got into stitching. And now I have all of this stuff. So it did start young, but I didn't stitch kind of that whole time. Okay, so on to my WIPs. It's a WIP. Again, I started this one and I didn't think I would just stick with it. This is called 5 o'clock by In Circles. I didn't think I would just stick with it, but then I did. So like I said, my stitching kind of pattern has changed a bit. But also, look at these colors. I mean, these summery colors. These oranges and yellows. It's just a really fun stitch. And all these little bits just feel like little finishes. And so I made it all the way across the top portion. Yeah. And I'm very happy with it. These chunks of color are just really so fun to do. Put that up closer. that was my WIP this week. I did attempt to do a new start, and I'll get to that in a second. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. But in getting to that, it's part of my haul. So I wanted to show, I got my Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is the summer. I do love this magazine, and if you do buy it, you get all the old issues online, so it's a really, really great deal. I actually think I'm going to do this without, I want to do just the boat and the whale. If I can get it small enough, we'll see. But I think that would be fun. So I did that, and then I ordered a couple PDFs here. I got Mary Amelia's Bird. This is by Quaint Rose Needle Art, right? Yeah, Quaint Rose Needle Arts. But look at that little chubby bird. So I got that, and then I got this Biscornu. I've never made a Biscornu, but I'm gonna be brave. I will tell you, this chart has amazing like photo instructions on how to do it. But I have a Scotty dog, and my parents have a brindle colored Cairn Terrier. And so I figured maybe I'll do one for each of us, because they're little buddies. So I did that. And then this is where my new start faltered. I was at Target at the dollar spot, and I found this little, it's not a bucket, box. And forever I have a Prairie Schooler chart. This is it. And I don't want to do the whole thing, but I've always wanted to do the little parts. And I thought, oh, how cute. Like, do the little parts, make them into little pillows. You know, put them in there. So when I got home and looked at the chart, I realized these are only maybe 28 by 28, which is pretty small. So I didn't want to do that on my normal 36 or 40 count, because I just will never be able to make a pillow. I'm new at making pillows, and so that would be very small. But a million years ago, I bought this 28 count Monaco, and I coffee tea dyed it, and then baked it. And I thought, you know, I have that, I've got to use it. I don't love the Monaco. It is very thick, and I just don't love it. And honestly, in the tea dyeing process, this was a 28. It's a 30 count now. I did verify. So anyway, I started working on this with 2 strands, and I just hate stitching with 2 strands. I don't like how, you can't see, but they're just bunched up, and I'm constantly going back with my needle and trying to like fix them and everything. So I attempted 1/2, sorry, just 1 thread. And I think I'm just gonna do it this way. I know the coverage is bad, but at least I'll enjoy stitching it, and at least I'll get something at the end that I can possibly maneuver sewing. And I looked at here, so in the picture, this seems really bright. These are the peppers that I'm doing right now. They're really bright, but this floss is not. It's more of a brown. And so I thought, you know what? If I do the thinner coverage on this kind of rustic looking fabric, and what appears are gonna probably be more rustic looking colors, maybe it'll work. It'll kind of look maybe old fashioned. So that's my plan. I haven't ripped it out and started again though, so I just hit the brakes on it. I thought, oh God, I don't need to think. I don't want to think, and I just pulled out my old WIP. The best part about that though is that came in. I got this as haul this week. Look at this bag. I love. This is from Stonehouse Stitching on Etsy. And I just, look how sweet this inside is. I just absolutely love it. And you're gonna see today, I have a lot of bags that my mother-in-law made for me. She was a big quilter, and unfortunately we lost her in February. And so this felt like a bag she totally would have made me. Her farm girl quilt from Lori Hart was like her pride and joy. And so you'll see a lot of her bags today, and I'm so thankful to have them. I always was, but even more now. So that's haul. Okay, so that's WIP's haul, little history lesson. So what we have done, my quilting with Nico bags are back in their spot, and I have my next basket out. And I'm just gonna go through these WIPs. These are my bigger bags, so they're kind of probably gonna be bigger projects, but I don't necessarily know what's in them. I'm very bad at remembering things like that. So we will see. This is a bag that I got, and I will try to be a bit better about who the bag is from, who the chart is from, all that stuff, but I'm just going a mile a minute, so I'm gonna do my best. This is also from Etsy. Joanna 1966, I believe, is the store. But I love that she has these big chunky zippers. I love that. Cute little buttons on the inside. And this is a doozy. This was released at Nashville. This is by Stacy Nash. The Spring Chicken Pin Keep. Okay, look at that cute little picture, right? Coming in at 173 by 173. So on my 36 count fabric will be over 9.5 inches by 9.5 inches. I was ill prepared, folks. I was ill prepared. However, I started. This is a fortnight fabric of a month, 40 count, nope, 36 count, I just said that. It's one of their mushroom colors. So anyway, I just got started on this vine. So as you see, like, this is the first flower. So I'm like, here. So that wasn't what I was expecting, but it's fine. It'll work. Next up, this is a Creative Carol bag. I have a black Scotty dog named Fergus. He's right over there playing with his toy. So kind of irresistible. And this is the Smith Sampler by the Scarlet House. And I love this. This is one of the rare occasions when I decided to go for the silks. I kept looking at it, and I looked at DMC. Looked at people who did it in DMC, and I went back and forth. And honestly, a lot of the colors are dinky dyes, and a skein of dinky dyes silk is $4.50, which is still more, but it's not an $8. So anyway, I don't remember how I justified it, but I did. And when I do silks, I do keep them in these, what are these called? Flossaway bags. And then I just put these are just postcards that I put through a laminator. And then this is the guy in the back. These are Charlie Harper designs. Oops, sorry, the glare is bad today. Sorry. It's super hot. It's like 100 degrees outside. So I'm doing my best. But anyway, I just put that on for like extra protection, and I keep silks in the bag because I have very dry fingers and I snag them as it is. So I try to keep them as protected as possible. Okay, Karen, what did you stitch this on? This is stitched on, I just had it in front of my face. Oh, Karen. Summer khaki, 36 count summer khaki. Because we wanted those whites to pop, right? And look, oh, I have got to get back to this. This border is so fun. Filling in these little squares, they're all different colors. I want to say I'm halfway across, but I'm not entirely sure. But ooh, I want to get back to this one soon. It's another giant piece of fabric. But that white pops on that summer khaki, I'm telling you. All right. Next up, chicken bag. This is from Etsy again. Katie's Posies. I'm sorry, I'm literally sweating. That is so gross. I apologize. Katie's Posies, I believe. But anyway, this chick, they just taking a bath in the sink. And I just couldn't. And you'll always get me with a gingham or a polka dot. Too good. All right, this is another sampler, smaller, and it's MT 1828 by Lila Studio. I know I got Ellen Reed, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, showed this, and I was like, pause, bye. It's just so gorgeous, and it's not as huge as some of the other ones. I am doing this with the called for colors, which are mostly Gentle Arts and Classic Colorworks. You can see those reds, these greens. It's just gorgeous. Boop. It got caught. You guys, I need to have a better place to put where my fabric is, but I'm pretty sure this is 40 count platinum. Nope, it's 40 count light mocha. Oh God, I thought I had more done than that. Oops. What is that? I didn't see that's my Scotty guy. Oh goodness. Karen, take that out. But so this is a 18 by 27 and it's gonna fit just like this first half. So if you're interested in a sampler and you don't want like a big one, like most of them are, this is a lovely example. And go over to Ellen Reed, her Flosstube, her Instagram, and look at hers. Her stitching is bonkers. Plus, she's a rock star. Like, this community, you guys, it's nuts. Okay, this is a bag. I love this bag. Look at that. Look at those bunnies. Tell me, guys, this is what? William Morris? Is that who that is? I don't know. This bag is from Vintage Owl Lady on Etsy. And I don't know what this project is. I'm stitching it on 46 count cream linen. What? I don't know what this is. Oh, I do know what this is. Okay, this is, I can't believe I'm stitching. I remember when the whole 46 count linen thing came out, I just bought 2 pieces and I can't do it. And the reason I can't do it is I find DMC to be a little thick for it. Obviously, that's a thing I have an issue with. I don't think it would be anybody else's issue, but it's an issue for me. I just get really, I like my stitches to lay. So I think I have now 2 projects in 46 count because I bought it. And so that's just what I had to do. This is from a pattern by Stitchy Princess Black on Etsy. She's a Ukrainian designer. Really fun stuff. Really, really fun. And I just couldn't resist those bunnies. And I got a pretty good chunk done. It's bigger, again, it's bigger than I thought it was gonna be, even on 46 count. But, I mean, I think it looks good. I think it looks good. But to me, those are a little crowded. I don't know. I like to see the X, the cross. I like that. So everybody gets their own choice, right? Okay, this is a bag from my mother-in-law that she made out of a piece that I stitched. Oh, and I wish I remembered what this was, but I don't. But it's just stitched, stitched on an 18 count Aida, I don't know. And it's a free pattern and everything. If you're interested, let me know. I'll find it. I'll find it. I have it. It's somewhere on my Instagram and I can roll back and find it. But I loved stitching this. And so she made it into a fun project bag with this little gnome and kitties fabric. And this is, oops, pattern in the wrong spot. This is, everybody was buying this at one point from Theron Traditions. It's called Needles and Pins. And a lot of people were buying this. The little saying says, oops, needles and pins, needles and pins. When a man marries, his trouble begins. Needles and pins. So anyway, and this is all just DMC. I have this in these bags. I used these before I started using floss tags. So this is one of my older projects. That's a lot of floss. So this is one of probably my older projects. This is 40 count platinum. Ooh, and I have a good bit done. Sorry. It is rolling on me. Sorry. Let's do this. I love this needle minder. I'm pretty sure this came from Delicious Threads many moons ago. But this border is kind of a beast because there's not really a rhythm to it. These strawberries are fun to fill in, but you have to really watch yourself because it's not, I don't know if the word's geometric, but it's not, it doesn't have a flow to it. Oh, I love this bag. This is another bag from Stonehouse Stitching on Etsy. I love him. I was born on Thanksgiving, so I have a bit of an affinity for turkeys. And we also lived in Eugene, Oregon for a while, and I had turkeys in my yard all the time. So, okay, there's two projects in here. The first one, oh, this is a hard picture to see. This is Thomas Turkey from Not Forgotten Farm. This is all DMC. I have just DMCs here. Boop, boop, boop. I love that. This like pop of teal that comes in there. All these fall colors. It's really fun. Orange back there. I think that's very fun. This is done on a 40 count Fortnite Fabrics, fabric of the month, so don't know. Oh, there's another one of those guys wearing a hat. Mushroom hat. Shoot, I wish I had more done on that one too. Oh well, it'll get there. The other one in here, this is a straight steel from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, her floss tube. She had stitched this and then sprayed it with this antiquing spray. So I bought the same fabric and the same spray and everything, but I'm still stitching. So we'll see if we ever get to that point. This is, turn it over, Karen. I don't know. I just always called it Turkey Hollow Farm. It's a Stacy Nash. Sorry, I'm not taking all this stuff out. It's just too much. So I'm pretty sure this is just a 40 count antique white. Hi! He's big too. This one is big too. But I got a turkey here. There's my hot dog minder. This is from Mad for Minders on Etsy. I love the wooden ones. They're very sturdy and strong. So those are my turkey projects, fittingly. All right, I have this little side bag here. It's a smaller one, but look at this grumpy Gus. Snarky cat. That's by Teresa Kogut. And this one, I did it all as called for. And I believe, I don't know what this fabric is. Whew. But isn't he great on that fabric? I'm gonna need to look, because this fabric is great with these fall colors. That's another fun needle minder is an acorn hat. These enamel ones all came from Kylie, who does not, sadly, do minders anymore, but she does do amazing soaps now. So get onto Instagram and follow her and grab some soaps. They're beautiful. Oh, this is 40 count straw. Looks very nice with those fall colors. Okay, another small one. These bags are from Pretty Southern. She posts on Etsy every once in a while, but this is by the Blue Flower Tudor Ermine. Look at that little guy. This is done on 36 count summer khaki. Just got the corner down there. This might be 40 count, actually. This is from, oh, Colleen. Yell at me. I can't believe I'm blocking that right now. You all know. Colleen. Rebel Stitcher, Rebel Stitcher, Rebel Stitcher. That is silly. I love you. That is silly that I could not remember that. All right, so the last of, oh, look at these little bunnies. So this is the last of the little ones. This is actually one, I'm stitching this kind of for my dad. This is Liberty Lodge by Plum Street Samplers. And growing up, we had a truck like this, but it was turquoise green. So I'm stitching it with the plans to turn the truck into turquoise green. Or this one. I guess I hadn't gotten to it yet. The fabric I'm stitching on is a greenish color. This is another Fortnite Fabrics. So I just have to get, I'm trying to get myself down. I'm trying to take this house bit by bit because it's just a beast. And get down to the truck, which is unfortunately on this corner, to figure out which turquoise is gonna work on this kind of bluish color fabric. Whoo, that was a doozy. And then I got over here, and of course I was just stitching away. And then I looked at the pattern and I had to figure this. I had to rip these out to figure out these are flowers that come through here. So I had to figure that one out. does not want to go back in that bag. This bag, look at that. Oh, so good. This I got on Instagram. Oh gosh. If you ask me, I'll find out. Miss Jones something. And she posts them. Her mom makes the bags and then she posts the pictures and you say me please or whatever. But I love it. Love it, love it, love it. This one is a, oh no. Well, that's not good. Hold please. Hold please. I lost a needle minder magnet. Oh Lord. Of course. Okay, I have 2 projects in here. Okay, I'll just leave that to the side. This is a stitch along that I am doing with the before mentioned Quilting with Nico, also Petals and Pins, and Wanda's Stitching Kitchen. We, for the last few years, have picked a project to start at the beginning of October. So this, oh, I don't remember the hashtag. Karen, that's terrible. I'll find out. But anyway, Halloween on the Farm by Kathy Barrick, all DMC, and it's actually super tiny. So I'm doing this on 40 count vintage country mocha, and I have a very sad start. But it's actually super teeny. It's only gonna be like down to here. So that's gonna be a super cute little thing. I need to get going on it. Oops, sorry. I need to find that needle minder. The other one in here is another biggin. This is from Heartstring Samplery. I believe it came out at Nashville last year. It's called the Scary Sampler. And it's basically, it's a morning sampler, but she put all these sci-fi callbacks to it. So like these are the little flowers from Stranger Things. There's the Death Star. There's alien heads. But down here is a little insignia from the show Fringe, which is like my very favorite show. So I was sold. I was absolutely sold. This one is big and dense. She's gonna take a while. This is 40 count platinum. See, and so I'm just cruising along on that first top section of the border. But the details, I mean, the details are amazing. So that's a long-term project, but I'm so excited about it. So very happy. All right, this is a bag that my mother-in-law made me. I saw this fabric. She lived in Sisters, Oregon and worked at the Stitch and Post, which is anybody who's been to the quilt show. And on my last trip up there before she passed away, I saw this in the window and loved it. And then she brought me this for my birthday, along with a yard cut of every single piece from the collection, which I need to figure out something to do with because, yeah. So this houses my Jane Bannister by Hands Across the Sea. I love this piece. I'm just like here. No, over here. I'm just kind of getting my feet under me. Again, I for this one have all my DMCs in, and I put them all in numerical order, so you just kind of flip through. Makes it very easy for all those little pieces. This has so many stops and starts that just felt right. So So this is 40 count platinum. Oh, this is a blanket. So, yikes. But this is where we are. And as I said before, their DMC colors are amazing. To be fair, I have never stitched a Hands Across the Sea in the silks, but that is because I have not one iota of complaint with the DMCs. I mean, look at this border. Look at that. These roses. Just stunning. So, have a long way to go on that one as well. But that's okay. Okay, this bag is from Tammy Blaylock. What is it? Creative Country Girl. I just love those lemons. That bright yellow plus polka dots. You got me. You got me. Okay, this is a Blackbird Designs. We Live in Hope. There is another piece in here, but I'm doing the big one. And this I started on the day when COVID happened. My son was in 5th grade, and so he missed the end of 5th grade, and then 6th grade, which was his first year of middle school, he did from home. And so when he had to go back to school, he had to go to middle school a year after everybody else had gone. And so that was a little hard for me. So I started We Live in Hope. So this is on 40 count light mocha. The lobster. No, this is another one I thought I had gotten a bit farther on. But I still live in hope, especially for him. This is a project bag my mother-in-law made for me. She had horses, and to go to their house and sisters and just watch her ponies was one of my favorite things in the world. And then she put these little panda bears in there too. So cute. She had that quilty thing. I don't have it. I don't have it. Okay, so when I got back into stitching and, you know, parking and Flosstube videos and, you know, everything, mirabilias were kind of, well, I don't think they ever have been not hot, but they were hot. And so I was like, oh, I can do that. So I chose as my first mirabilia, Tree of Hope. Which, I mean, still, it's gorgeous. And so I probably have not stitched on this in like 4 or 5 years, if I'm being honest. But before that, I got the whole tree done. So I got the tree done. I'm down here now, starting on one of the ladies. Here's my a fine otter with a chapeau. But look at that. It's so gorgeous. And this is mostly DMC except for I think this leaf color and this leaf color are Gloriana's. So I did pretty good. I have a lot more to go. And sadly, it just doesn't come up for me to stitch on, which I hate. I wish I would stitch on it more. I wish I would stitch on everything more, to be honest. This is the second mirror I started. I saw this finished and it's very kind of dated, but to the dates that I grew up, so it's appealing to me. But I saw somebody finish it and I just, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I bought this all as called for, and I think the fabric is what's gonna make it sing, but it makes it a little hard to stitch on. It's this dark green, oops. Let's see if this will just help, maybe not the sun go through it. It's this dark green color, which I really think makes everything pop, but it makes it a little harder for me to stitch. So I'm working down, and then I'll go back and do her face and everything. But again, I haven't touched it in many, many moons. But it's there for what I wanted, so that's good. Ooh, this one. This is Dutch Beauty. And this pattern, I mean, this pattern is just amazing. It goes into detail about what all these things meant, you know, what a deer indicated, or, you know, and it really goes kind of line by line in the pattern about why those symbols were used. It's very cool. I mean, even just for the pattern, it's very cool. I remember it was Mackenzie bought this. She said the same thing and I bought it for that reason. So this is very big. Let me see. I want to say this is 14 count. I have it here. 14 count alabaster. 40 count alabaster, which is a really nice kind of off-white gray color. So this is where I am. This is hard to figure out where to look to make sure you guys see it, but so that I can see what's going on too. So I'm just getting to this part where the lady is, right here. Yep. I still have a long way to go. But again, this is another one. The amazing Ellen Reed finished this. Please go watch. The things, her projects are amazing. And she buys all these giant patterns and makes them happen. And it's really impressive. It's really impressive. So that is Dutch Beauty. Another one, that's a fun one to stitch because you're like, what am I stitching? And then it'll come to fruition and you're like, oh, that's a lemon tree. I love this bag. This is one of those, is it Blue Apron? No. I don't know. They're recycled. But I made many of these mixtapes. This was always my favorite. I thought it was very rock and roll. Anyway. What we have in here, oh, I remember. Oh, I have, oh, this is a project with a plan that I'm still in step 1 of. But these, oh, which one am I working on? So these are 3 little baskets from With a Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. And you do the little basket, you have instructions. I have the basket somewhere up there. And then they come with a little pin cushion. And so there's a winter one, winter in Baltimore. summer in Baltimore. I bought all the ticking and everything. This was years ago, probably 7 years ago. Wait till you see where I am. And then, oh, this was one that got me, autumn in Baltimore. So I bought all the patterns, I bought all the ticking, I bought all the boxes, I bought one piece of fabric so they would all be the same size. I did all this calculating and planning and huge piece of fabric, just a blanket. And I am on the first one. And I think I'm like halfway. So what I did was I started with the house because that was the easiest to count. So it's this house and this flower, and then I come over here and there's another flower. 2 more flowers, I believe. 2 more flowers? I don't know. It's hard to see on the pattern. But so I'm going this way and then I'll come around. So obviously there's something like back here, but I don't know what. Ugh. So anyway, I love it though. I love the colors. But I have all this and all these plans. But eventually I'm gonna have 3 gorgeous boxes to put somewhere. Fill with something. Who knows? All right, this is the last one for this one. This is another bag from my mother-in-law that brought me to tears because I love it so much. This is, you're all screaming at me. You all know what kind of fabric this is. Look at the cans of cat food. Hi, polka dot kitty. You're so sweet. But she made that, and then look, she made like a little ditty bag. Can you see it? So I have all my little tools in here. So I have some scissors with a bunny. All sorts of stuff in there. Look how easy that is. Bloop, bloop. So cute. Oh, I forgot what was in here. So, again, I started watching Flosstube. Oh, I can do mirrors. I can do parking. I started Heaven and Earth Designs ones. I have like 4. They're up there. Maybe we'll get to those at some point, but. And then I thought, oh, well, for sure, I can do a chatelaine too. Crazy people. It's a big deal. It's just stitching, right? Just stitches. So I bought the chatelaine. I bought the little kit from European Cross Stitch. She's still doing them. She's having a heck of a time though. Her orders from like years ago are not here. That's horrible. I feel awful. But yeah, I bought, so here's all, we got the DMCs, we've got gold things and silk things, and I don't know what this is. Then we have, I don't know, there's beads in here somewhere. It's a whole thing. But what I don't know is what the fabric is. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If you order the whole kit, it's what comes with the kit. And I'm in the middle part. And this is all just different shades of DMC, but it's really pretty. And it really is doable. I just need to do it. So I'm just obviously going, I complete it here and then I'll complete it here. And then because it's 4 quadrants of the same thing, this picture is hard to see, but I'm obviously on these big parts. I've done that little part. So I'm just kind of going, and then I'll do like these pots, and then I'll do this corner. But I'm doing it 4 at a time. Because if I just go one way, I'll never, like if I just did this, I'll never finish. And this is called the Knot Garden. Have I not been saying the titles of anything? I'm sorry. Okay, so anyway, woo! There are some big projects I have to work on. So that's it for me today. I'm sorry, this didn't feel as flowy or natural. I'm a little more like, what is happening? But these are all projects I love. I still have all these bins. These 3 bins have more WIPs. I have a thing of WIPs downstairs. I have Heaven and Earth designs way up there if anybody wants to see them. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever finish those, to be honest. And that's okay. That's okay. They brought me joy while I've stitched them, and so that's how it will be. So anyway, I'm sorry if this wasn't as like free-flowing as the last one. You know, life changes, you're in different moods, things go awry. But thank you all for watching and your comments. I mean, the comments, everybody is so encouraging and so kind. And it's just an example that that actually is how you can be in the world if you just kind of choose to be. And this was a big kind of stretch for me, and I'm so glad I did it, even if I never do it again. It's okay. It's fine. And so thank you for anybody who subscribed or thumbs upped or commented or liked something on Instagram or any of it. I appreciate it all. Everybody appreciates it all. Everybody says this, and it is true. It is very, very true. So that's all I got for today, but maybe we'll do it again. Bye.